And then I come to ALEC and it gives me such a boost. I'm like, ALEC, the ALEC family really keeps me going and makes me want to stay in the state legislature and keep fighting the good fight.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to ALEC TV. We're coming to you from our 51st annual meeting in Denver, Colorado. I'm so excited to be joined by State Representative Jeanine of New Hampshire. Now, Jeanine, you are the House Majority Whip.
Yes.
And you have been serving in elected office for 14 years in New Hampshire. You run for office every 2 years. You are probably the only legislature in the country that is almost all volunteer. I mean, what you tell me is
we get paid $100 a year and they tax it.
So that can be hard because you were telling me you really have a very slim majority in the House.
By only a few people. And there were days this past term, where we were actually in the minority. And it was terrible for our morale. We lost a lot of good legislation, like some EFAs. There were some EFA bills, or education freedom accounts, you call savings accounts. And it can be devastating. And I got to the point where I didn't want to run again. And I was in tears and sitting in the majority leader's office. I said, it's been 14 years and the morale has been low in our caucus. And then I thought about it. I said, I can't let that seat go to a Democrat. And then I come to ALEC and it gives me such a boost. I'm like, ALEC, the ALEC family really keeps me going and makes me want to stay in the state legislature and keep fighting the good fight.
That's really so great to hear. What is it about this team here at ALEC and all the lawmakers from around the country that lifts your spirits?
Well, my very first ALEC meeting, I didn't know anyone. It was in DC. I went by myself. I'd never done anything like that before. And the first workshop that I sat in on, New Hampshire was up on the board, and they were talking about, I think it was energy and I'm like, wow, I didn't know a soul. But then I started going to ALEC, and now I walk around and there's so many familiar faces. I've been to academies. I try not to miss any of the conferences, both the annual and in the State and Nation Policy Summit, SNPs. And it just, it's part of the whole experience and makes me part of who I am. And I don't want to give it up, because if I didn't run, I wouldn't be part of the ALEC family.
So I think most people think about ALEC as the place where the policy leaders come to and you hash out good model policy. And,
yes.
And I love ALEC because I feel like it's where the really smart people are and, sort of the cool kids come and they all want to talk about serious issues. And that's a big part of ALEC. But it sounds like what you're saying is that's only part of the ALEC experience.
Exactly. I mean, model policy is great. We take it and we tailor it for our own individual states, because every state is different.
Right.
And we all take turns with the model policy. I think the one that I sponsored this year was children, stopping slave labor and children labor for the components for the EVs. And a lot of people don't realize, they talk about green energy, but how green is it? And do you see the process where they get the components that they send to China to make those batteries, those solar panels? And China, with how many coal plants do they have now?
Right.
To make that green energy.
Right.
It's like,
so you're raising awareness about important policy issues, but you also come to sort of get a boost.
Yes, absolutely. Really, I can't emphasize that enough. They really get a boost from going to ALEC. Huge morale boost. Don't give up.
Yeah. Is there any sort of specific thing or conversation you had here at ALEC this week that has really bolstered your sort of resolve to stay in the game and keep fighting?
Not just this week, just getting ready preparing to go. And then I usually run into people at the airport that are going. We end up ride sharing. Like Eric and from, I think he's Connecticut Island, who's a senator. I usually see him at the airport. I didn't this time around though, but and then just walking through, it's like now what started out being all strangers are familiar faces. And when you go to the academies, it's a small group, and then you get to know people even better.
Well, that's really lovely. And we appreciate you sharing it. Is there anything you want to add before we wrap up, Jeanine?
Thank you for being here and for making this available for all of us. It really, really helps.
That's Jeanine Notter, State Representative from New Hampshire. We're so grateful that you're with us this week.